Right, well, hello everybody, and welcome to our latest video interview. And today we have with us Joe Mercanti. Joe, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Hugh. It's a pleasure, and I feel honored being able to do this.
So obviously you've had a very long and storied career. We understand you've now retired from the industry, but tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved in the automotive aftermarket.
Well, basically I've been involved all my life because my father had a body shop, and we lived right beside it. So I grew up basically in the automotive business. And my father passed away early, so I got out of it at that point, and went to university. And then I was transferring from one university to another, and I got a job at this company in Hamilton called Canadian Performance Distributor. So I started there, like I said, as a summer job, but I enjoyed it so much that I just carried on, and I progressed through the company, became part of the management team. It was a family-owned company, so there was two sons that were involved that I got to know fairly well. Growing with the company, you do a little bit of everything. The company grows, everybody finds a spot. I found a spot in the purchasing. I was a purchasing director doing the purchasing and setting up. We had to set up buying policies and stuff like that. So it was fun. It was fun doing a little bit of everything and going on. And then after that, in '86, it got sold to Ackland's. I stayed on for 2 years, and then it was sold to Uniselect in 1989. At that point, I said I had enough of being bought and sold and got into other things. I was a sales manager at 4 or 5 different companies, and marketing manager and whatever. And then to where I ended up my career at WORLDPAC.
Okay. So obviously you've been in the industry a long time. You've seen a lot of changes happen. And we're just kind of curious to see, what was it like when you first got involved, like when you were doing stuff on the performance side? I mean, obviously it was a very exciting time to be part of it, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, it was very exciting. It was, you sold the sizzle, not the, and it was great. It was you sold something that was a want rather than a need, and it's like the fashion business. It changes every day, and you got to stay up with that. And it was exciting, though. It was very exciting. A lot of the manufacturers that got into the business got into it because they were race enthusiasts, and they had something that they had designed and whatever for the race car that they said, okay, fine, I think everybody else would like that product. And spent a lot of time as a purchasing director getting involved in different things and finding out what was going on. And the changes were rapid at that time in terms of technology was starting to change. And it was very exciting at that time. A lot of opportunity, a lot of growth, a lot of different manufacturers, distributors at the time. And it was exciting. It was exciting. That's why I remained in it.
Yeah, absolutely. That totally makes sense. And I'm kind of envious in a way because I kind of wish I'd been around back then as well. But were there any kind of signature moments that kind of stood out in that era of your career, if you like? Anything that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, the one thing about it was that I wasn't going to work each day. I was going to have fun each day. That was exciting. The first 2 years I worked at CPD, I never took any holidays. I worked 6 days a week. 12, 14 hours a day. I loved it. Like I said, I'd never, and that whole CPD experience right up to when it was sold, I got married then. I had my kids then. It was a part of my life that I feel I really enjoyed. Like I say, I wasn't going to work each day. It was going to have fun. And when you have that, it's not work.
You've already told us a little bit about your career progression, but were there any sort of specific time periods and any specific roles that you've had in the industry that kind of really stood out?
Well, the CPD thing was very exciting, but as I went on and getting into a lot of the sales managers and whatever, and I was a sales rep 3 times in terms of I worked for 2 companies and then had my own company as a sales rep, bringing products from the U.S. up into Canada and having them distributed by Canadian distributors. That was very exciting because you learned to see how a product came from the US, and then you brought it up to Canada and became popular up in Canada, and exposed a lot of people to a product or a brand that was not visible in Canada and became visible because of that. Also, getting involved in the, I was in the truck accessory business for quite a while, bed liners and whatever. And then I got into the traditional end of the business where when I worked for a rep agency, it was bringing into different lines that were what they called white box at the time, but they were very conscious and very, very viable for the business. And it brought the others to change their way of going to market.
One of the things we talk about in the industry is sort of, mentors or, people that influence your career. Joe, anything you'd like to share on that front?
The one big one was always my father. He passed away very early. He was 40 years old when he did pass away. But he was a man that worked very hard and always fought a challenge. And he taught me quite a bit, even though I was 13 when he passed away. But he worked very hard. And he once told me, he said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I took that to heart. And he said, don't let your hand shake when you get that paycheck, because you didn't deserve it. Things like that, the value of hard work, and that's how you get ahead. That's how you get ahead. And being very social. He was a very social person. I mean, we always had people at our house. So that was another thing. And when he was involved in the business. So he was a big one. And I do have a lot of others that I learned quite a bit over the years. One would be Don Chase and Doug Williams, because at the time when Canadian Performance was getting more and more in the traditional business, they were traditional. That was very, very exciting at that time, and they helped me through that and got me tuned into that. So,
obviously, you had a long and illustrious career. Obviously, there's a lot of changes that happened in the industry during that time. What were some of the biggest changes or evolutions that you perhaps saw in the aftermarket during your tenure?
A big thing was not only at the distributor level, manufacturer level, consolidation. That happened, and that really changed the business. At one time, you had 100 different manufacturers, hundreds of different manufacturers. Now you have a very limited number that own different brands. They all got consolidated into one. Bigger was better at the time. And a lot of those companies have found that bigger isn't better. And they said, okay, we're going to stick with our core. They sold off a lot of those. And then at the distributor level, a lot of the smaller distributors got bought up by the bigger distributors, and then you had a lot of the U.S. buying groups and U.S. companies. So you had a lot of consolidation and whatever with what was going on in the business, not only at the manufacturer, but also at the distributor level.
Also, besides your career, you also got involved in sort of the association side, including AIA's Ontario chapter. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that as well.
Yeah. Well, one thing I can say in growing your network and whatever, a trade association does that. And AIA did that for me. Getting involved there, not only for because AIA is the voice of the automotive aftermarket industry. It helps in terms of getting involved. Any issues of the day that are important. There was other issues back then that we got involved with, that I got involved with. But I felt that helping the industry as a whole helped yourself in terms of that. But the big other thing that I found in being part of an association is that you network. I think it's very important. It's very good to be involved. Also, there was I got to be part of the High Fives for Kids program, became a director of that. I think that's important. It gives back to the industry. It gives back to the communities that the industry works in. So it was very exciting. I think being part of an association or a trade association, or being part of that, is very important in business.
So now that you've retired, what are your plans for the future?
Right now, I want to enjoy my family, my wife, not that she likes it, but, is to be home, be there all the time. My wife is still working. She's a teacher, making supper each night. I enjoy doing that. And then enjoying my grandkids. I have 2 grandkids, and it's nice to spend time with them and see them grow.
And I think really, so the last question we really had was, based on your own career, what advice might you give for young people who might be considering a career in the aftermarket?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. There's a couple things. The biggest thing is getting involved and networking. I think that's very, very important. And also another big point there is showing up. A lot of people, you got to be visible in terms of this business. You got, in any business, you got to be out in the marketplace. You got to network. You got to be involved. I think it's very important that you go to each trade show, you get involved in any of the trade golf tournaments or other things. But being involved is very important, and helping others and help, even though it doesn't benefit you, you can help somebody. You can say, in a lot of cases when I was selling, if I thought that product was not good for that customer, I'd say so. And if I knew of one product, it would be a competitive product that was better for that customer, I'd suggest that to them. And being honest in the business is very important, and that keeps you going with that individual or company ongoing. So and like my father always told me, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And a lot of people say that luck is everything. No, it's not. It's hard work. And working smart, hard, but working smart.
And just on a final note, anything else you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I want to say thank you very much to everybody that I was involved with over the years. I'd like to say that my ending company was WORLDPAC was very like the beginning of my company. I said, I was charged again when I got involved with WORLDPAC about 6.5 years ago, because it was a company that was growing at the time, and I had a position where I had, okay, we need to do this thing, and we want to grow this, the national account program within WORLDPAC, and that was my duties at the time, and I was very excited about it. And like I said, I felt like I was at CPD again in terms of a company that was growing, and I grew with it. So I just want to say thank you very much to everybody in the industry that I was involved with. And I'm not going to be out either. I'm still around. I'm still, still like to be in contact with people. So you all stay in touch. And I want to say thank you.
Okay. Fantastic, Joe. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate everything that your magazine and Russo do.